justice belongs to all.
COVID-19 has impacted both positively and negatively many of the projects that ITPC has engaged with. So we had to use and leverage technology in a way that we didn't before. We also had to become creative and really be able to explain to donors what's happening on the ground and explain that we no longer need money for training. We would like to have money to buy data.
Life Maps was kind of conceptualized during COVID, and that meant traditional methods of collecting information about what was going on the ground in communities were not an option. We couldn't travel, we couldn't do focus group discussions, we couldn't do one-on-one interviews. So we needed to pivot and come up with something creative. So all the money that had originally been budgeted for travel was spent giving participants mobile phones and training them via Zoom, and one of my colleagues was able to do some training in person. But getting them to document their own lives.
My name is Jane Boyce and I am 53 years old. I live in South Africa in the province of KwaZulu-Natal in a community called Marion Ridge, which is part of the greater Marion Hill area. It's about 20 kilometers out of the city of Durban. This is where I live and this is where I work. I could be described as somebody who is growing old with HIV. I have been on treatment for the last 18 years. I was diagnosed during a random blood test for life insurance, and at that point began my journey with HIV. But during the lockdown, there was just this need to do something and to take my mind off everything that was going on. And so I started to think about how I could plant food. My son was available, so he started making me some boxes to put the planting. We started getting tires. And so that's how my experience grew in terms of the food garden.
As activists in our own busy schedule, we tend to forget about ourselves and focus more on uplifting others. And this instant, it actually made me realize that my life is very much important, as well as also my family. So it made me reflect on myself, on the treatment, and on what I always advocate for, and also understand the treatment even better than I did before. And that actually has assisted me to improve my own activism with that reflection, taking it back to what I do normally for other people. So it actually has given the space of reflection, and also taking note from my reflection and assisting others on what I've done with myself. So yeah. It's been very much difficult, especially for many people out there. I think for us on the ground, and actually for us on the front line as activists, it wasn't that much. I mean, we had to fight, and luckily us, we are known in different institutions. So when we go there, then they will pay attention, they'll listen to us. The attitude from the health institution will change. But I was really fearing a lot for those that do not have the appearance that I have when they visit clinics, especially when they ran short of their own medication. I think that was a struggle. They didn't know what to do, where to report to. The clinic will simply just say, we're out of stock, and especially level 5, there was no transport. And that's it. Either they couldn't go to clinic to fetch their medication, or they managed to reach the clinic, but the clinic did not have any stock.
This project was very difficult for me this time because I am actually recording myself and it's the first time I'm doing it. But anyway, let's get straight to the point. My Easter this year was difficult for me because I only got paid after Easter and I couldn't do the things I usually do for my kids, and my kids were not happy with the way things were this year. So we only usually for Good Friday we usually have hot cross buns in the morning, but this year we couldn't have that day because of money not being there, and I'm only getting paid now on the 8th, so whatever I didn't do for my kids I'll have to do now when I get paid. And pickled fish was out, hot cross buns. We were actually living on stuff that was at home, which was sugar beans. I also had mealie meal, I also had rice in my cupboard and vegetables. So that's the things that I had in my house, and that's what we were living on this Easter weekend, and which wasn't good for me because Easter I usually take my kids out to the beach, so that was also out. So I'll have to make a plan on what I'm doing for them when Easter's finished. Thank you.
COVID has really changed my home routine. Of course, I'm staying back at rest, but for now I'm home for like a little bit of time. But then when COVID started, I was back at rest with nobody but myself, and I had to make sure that I take care of myself, and it really took a toll on me, in a sense that I had to make sure that I get myself the groceries myself, and I had to make sure that I wash them before I use them. Like, for example, fruits and veggies, when I always used to get them, like I would wash them immediately. When I got back into the house, I would wash them, and I would make sure I sanitize like everything before I use it. This was because it is scary. It's scary, and it was also scary seeing people online, you know, the videos that we were seeing of people dying of COVID, people who were sick of COVID. So I was really scared of that. So I made sure that I cleaned my groceries when I came back with it from the store. I made sure that I cleaned my surfaces most of the time because I was alone. I would make sure that once a week I clean my surfaces, because I couldn't do it like every day because I'm still a student, I'm studying. So yeah, and it also changed my routine in a sense that I had to study from home, I had to attend classes from home, everything was to be done from home.
Hello, Lube. It has been a routine thing in terms of how I can travel, because now I have sanitizer that you gave us. Whenever I'm traveling, I need to put my mask. Yeah, I need to put my mask in a proper way. Okay, so and the sanitizer naiga umumu kuti zienda nako kakang'ono mu galimoto whenever I'm traveling, so that ndikafuna kugwisa ntchito mu galimoto I can use this. So ndimayeneka nthu the banges or not, I should clean my hands. Nangisigamoto amaendesa anthu osiyana, so I nangsinthai iso ndiya COVID, then ndimayeneka ndithu the bange clean. And also galimoto steering amagwira ndi anthu osiyana, so mayeneka nthu ndi bange to clean.
So how it affected me I'm a person who collects ARTs, and also I'm a person who collects hormone replacement pills. So for me to collect them, it's not here in Durban. So the first one was in PMB. So you need to travel to PMB. I remember the first months, I had to go and collect my medication. So I had to put in pause because we were on 21 day of lockdown. And how it has impacted me when I enter a clinic, it's always being questioned. Whenever it starts from the admin, when you sign the form. When you sign the form, they will take you as Mr. And I had to elaborate more into it, or explain or advocate on it. But they don't give me that enough time to actually advocate on it, because there are people who are on the next queues. So I think every time when I need to see a doctor or a nurse, I ask the nurse or a doctor to please scratch it out and put at least other. Then whoever that capture it will explain what's other for, so I can also be accommodated.
As a pregnant person, I'm always involved. Like, from the moment I find out I'm pregnant, I always buy clothes, everything that I need for my child. For this baby, I didn't even tell, even my family didn't know I was pregnant. I didn't buy anything. I didn't prepare, because in my mind I just never thought that he's gonna make it. I never thought that he was gonna survive, that I was gonna survive. I just thought that he was gonna die. So I didn't want to actually see myself as a pregnant person. I didn't want to announce the pregnancy or anything like that. Even when he was born, I still didn't buy stuff for a whole month. He used his brother's stuff. Even now, I just started buying stuff now, because in my head, I just feel like he's still going to die. He's still going to die. And I remember I used to just pray all the time and say, like, I hope that he makes it through, because of all the stuff that I had to give him while he was in the womb, and it didn't need to take, but because of me. And I blamed myself, and I didn't know what else to do to protect him. I just felt like I let him down somehow, even though I tried everything that I can as a mother to protect him. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Please don't.
But it's been a horrible time, and I don't know how other pregnant women are doing it. It was the worst pregnancy I've ever had. I don't think I've ever felt like that in my entire life.
This is how COVID-19 has affected my life generally. As you can see, this house is incomplete. I started building this house about 3 years ago. It's not easy. We are struggling, so we keep on hoping, but this is just one of the proof that things are not really well. Shelves are empty.
And another thing that has changed, it's also the schooling routine, especially for young people or adolescents. Most of the adolescents between the ages of 8 to 16 or 18, they rotate. But for my little one, he doesn't rotate. So he goes to the daycare every day, because, it helps also to keep in track and to also get him used to the routine once he gets to go to school or goes to preschool. So it's just the daycare center.
We were able to get the kind of data that we would never have been able to get otherwise. Photographs of the inside of people's fridges, photographs of what people were eating, how they were growing food because their food security had been impacted, the way they were trying to school their children when in-person learning had changed, and how that impacted their ability to work.
The greatest outcomes that we hope to see is using the data from life maps for advocacy work and influencing change. So life maps should be able to highlight gaps in the health systems, highlight gaps on the economic impact COVID has brought on the PLHIV community, and using those gaps that we have been able to identify to influence change.